the Jews versus the Greeks and the Scythians and the barbarians and all this stuff, right? You know the one thing that Jesus talked about two things predominantly. Three if you count like obedience to God, Talked about obedience to God. He talked about hell, and he talked about money, and he warned the rich a lot. The New Testament is replete with warnings to the rich about money and the love of money. The scripture says the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. So there's a lot of warnings about that. In 1 Timothy 5, and like 1 Timothy is just it's a reminder, warn the rich not to, all that. The thing is, when you look at America, the enemy has done a great job. Satan is what I mean. If you're not a Christian, then he's not your enemy, he's your friend. But if you are a Christian, then he's your enemy. Once you become a Christian, he becomes your enemy. Satan has done a masterful job, wonderful job, making America's sort of original sin be racism, be about skin color. And don't get me wrong, that played a role in America's history. But there were a lot of things that played a role, even in the 20th century. I mean, you think about most of us don't even think about the communist idea. Like we weren't alive. Most weren't alive in the 50s. Well, some of us may have been. I don't know who's watching. But we weren't alive, right? But there was a point in time where if someone said you were a communist, it would ruin your life. There was a senator, McCarthy, they call it McCarthyism, right? Where he was just constantly accusing Americans of being communists or sympathetic to communists. That would ruin your life, man. They would go after. I mean, they said Martin Luther King was of the whenever they didn't like you or wanted people, they would call you a communist. They would do that. Now they call you a homophobe maybe or a white supremacist. I don't know if there's one word that accomplishes that nowadays. Maybe a bigot or something, depending on who you are. I don't know. Bigot sounds like biscuit to me. If you call me a bigot, I just think you're saying I'm fat like a round biscuit. It doesn't even bother me. But that's just, everybody's different. But there was a point where if someone said you were a communist, man, you would lose your job, you would lose your social status and all that, right? So there's a lot of things that have happened in American history that are not just about race. But one of the greatest things that happened that was connected to races is status, economic status. And the enemy's done a good job making us focus on race because what was behind race? Here's the question. What was behind the push for slavery? What was behind the desire to keep people enslaved for generations? It was the love of money. It was the love of money. So it was commerce. It was commerce. It was about money. It was the color green is the greatest racist color if we're going to choose a color to be angry at. The white-black dynamic is just one of a deeper, larger microcosm within the whole scheme of American history. It's really about economic status. And let me tell you why the enemy has made it focus on race, because the Bible doesn't talk a lot about race. It just says love your neighbor as yourself. So anyone with a different ethnicity than you would technically be your neighbor that you're supposed to love. But so Satan hides with the real issue because God talks about money a lot in the New Testament. But when you make it not about money or the love of money that produces all kinds of evil, like enslaving and creating laws against particular people for financial gain, means that's an easier biblical handle to get around. All this other stuff is not necessarily a biblical reality. So they're right in the sense that racism is a social construct, but the love of money, which produces the desire to enslave people, the desire to withhold people from making income, the desire to that is biblical, right? The second greatest commandment, that is biblical. So what the enemy has done is made it about race and not class, because class is about how we treat each other based on our financial status. You look at James, right? James 2 warns against favoritism, right? And it specifically says, when the person who has money comes in, don't give him the highest places of honor and so forth. And I'm paraphrasing, obviously, and ignore the poor people, right? That was just a common thing to do. It was the reality. So when you think about class and economic status, class reveals whether or not your love of money is shaping you and shaping your favoritism. And that's the underlying issue behind America's original sin of racism. It's really a love of money. They weren't racist. They didn't hate black people just because they were black. They needed people to help establish they didn't have the white people that came over. They were too fragile. They were getting sick and dying, eating each other. They were cannibals from like 1607 to 1619, something like that. It was crazy stuff, right? They were just eating each other. There's a man just eating. I mean, there was a dude eating his wife's ribs and biblically justified about she was taken from Adam's rib. It was crazy stuff back then. That might not be true, but it sounded all right. But the cannibalism is true though. That's historical. You can look that up. But they didn't bring slaves over here because they were black. They brought them over here because there was already a system in place to enslave them. That doesn't make it right what they did, because we said we were Christians and you treated these human beings like animals. My point though is that it wasn't an ethnic reality. It was an economic reality. It was about commerce, right? So because the enemy has done such a fantastic job hiding that, what's happened is the hatred towards people of different ethnic classes or skin tones is a part of the larger narrative of the love of money, is why you would allow yourself to, I mean, think about it. The love of money is why we let people get away with a lot of stuff. I just heard that Bill Belichick is 72 years old, is dating a model who's 24, right? I'm sure some people are outraged by it, but you know why I don't hear like a lot of outrage about it? It's not like a major story. Like, what in the world? I mean, 72 at 24? And she's 24? I mean, he's probably loving life. 24, fam, that's either your granddaughter's age or maybe your great-granddaughter's age. Let's just see. If Bill Belichick, let's just stay with me here. Let's say Bill Belichick had his first child at 25 years old, right? And then his child had their first child at 28 years old, which would make Bill Belichick 53. Let's just say that. So now he's a granddad at 53. And then that child grows up 20 years later, and now, I guess it would be his granddaughter, not his great-granddaughter. Maybe, if you switch the numbers around. She's 48 years younger than him. And you know why there's not like, and maybe there is, I could be wrong, I haven't seen a lot. You know why there's not crazy outrage? Because Bill Belichick is rich. He's a rich dude, old white dude, who's the head coach of the Patriots. Ex-head coach. He's not the Patriots, but he won all those Super Bowl titles with Tom Brady. He's an old white dude, and no one's going to care. But if I dated a girl that was even 20, 25 years younger than me, people would be like, oh, he's robbing the cradle. Oh my gosh, look at this dude. Is that even biblical? They would do that. But they don't care. You know why? Because of money. When you have money, it changes everything. So why am I saying all this? What does this have to do with the topic of Caitlyn Clark and all of that? Here's the point that I'm trying to say. America needs a black-white narrative. Do not be fooled into thinking that we're trying to end it, that racism is over. No. America needs a black-white narrative. You know why? Because like sex, racism sells. A black-white narrative sells. And in America, it's going to be a black-white narrative. If you go to Germany, it's going to be a Jew-German narrative. If you go to China, it might be, I think, a China and Korean. I think they don't really get along at all, or whatever. Japanese. There's a lot of these that don't get along. Depending on the narrative and where you are, if you create tension through that, people are going to pay attention because of that lens. There's a lot of ethnic groups that don't like each other in America, but it will never be equal to that of black and white. We are the Jews versus Samaritans in our country, and because of that, you pay attention, right? You want to see, is it true? Because there's such a history, it already tugs at heartstrings. Yeah, there are people like, I'm tired of hearing about it. That's true, but don't get it fooled, brothers and sisters. Even those on the conservative right that think that they hate wokeism and racism, every time you write a book, you benefit from the economy. Here's the reality, brothers and sisters. Racism, sins related to a person's color, particularly black versus white, is a capitalistic success story. I mean, if you think about it, whether you like, I didn't bang with Black Lives Matter, the movement at all. When a hashtag came out, I understood what it meant. I understood what the hashtag meant. And I thought it was a clever hashtag. But the organization and what they stood for, no, sir. And I'm black. So don't nobody try, oh, man, you just selling out for the white. No, I'm black. I can go into neighborhoods where people, some of these people can't. It used to be when you were black, you went to a HBCU. No. Now then you became black, man. I'm black. I'm from all of that. When I say that Black Lives Matter was whack, they were whack to the bone gristle, right? But the reality is in America, black-white narrative racism is a cash cow. It's a cash cow. Back in, some of you are old enough to remember this, because I do have some people that watch this and they're a little bit older. I wasn't even old enough to remember this. But when Larry Bird played Magic Johnson in 1979, Michigan State versus Indiana State, an NCAA basketball championship, on Michigan State, you had a 6'9", charismatic guard by the name of Irvin Magic Johnson playing against, on Indiana State, a low-key white dude that they end up calling the hick from French Lick named Larry Bird. It was, if it's not the highest watched NCAA game in college still, it was up there, all right? It was the highest. Magic Johnson won in 1979. And then they both came into the NBA that fall, that 79 going into the 1980 year. Bird went to the Boston Celtics and Magic went to the Los Angeles Lakers. And they had one of the best rivalries in all of sports. But at that time, and I wish I have a documentary that I was watching that was talking about this. At that time, David Stern, who was the NBA commissioner then, there was a documentary that talked about, at that time, the country was still very racially divided. The NBA had largely been a white organization, and there was another basketball organization called the ABA, which was largely like the black players, the street ball players, where the NBA were more straight-laced, like everyone's doing like George Mikan layups with two hands and shooting like that. Well, the ABA, you had like Dr. J dunking on people from the foul line. You had Pistol Pete Maravich doing all these crazy passes. You had a little bit of Bob Cousy in the NBA. He was the best. He was one of the point guard for the Boston Celtics that won 11 championships. I know you young folks don't know about that. I wasn't alive either, but I know what I'm talking about. Right, but you had that. So what happened was, around that time, Oscar Robertson, who was one of the I forgot the organization with the players. It's about the players. I forgot. Players Association, whatever. He helped merge the NBA and the ABA, and a lot of the NBA fans that were largely white fans hated that. In fact, the New York Knicks used to be called the New York Knickerbockers. They called them that. They used to. It was right. They said Boston was one of the most racist cities to play in because, you know, all these Irish and all this stuff, right? It was a terrible time. The NBA was losing money. They thought that the NBA was not going to make it because of that merger, and then Magic and Bird came in, and it was the great white hope. The white people were like, yes, we got a white guy that we can rally behind, and Magic was the black dude. And so the Lakers versus Celtics, I wouldn't even be surprised if we found out that a lot of those games, those series were rigged to get there because it was good. The NBA started booming. That tension, that narrative, the hick from French Lick, and he was the great white hope. Larry Bird, I mean, go back and Google, Google's your friend. Google it. He was the great white hope. That racism, that tension between the black Magic Johnson and the white Larry Bird and the white people rallying around him, and that tension caused the NBA to survive. Because here's what thing was important. I'm a sports fan. I'm a Washington Commanders sports fan. I was a depressed Washington Commanders season ticket holder since 2005. But after our draft and we did in the offseason, I'm actually jolly. I'm tickled. I can't wait for the season to start, right? I'll be there. I'm gonna be there. Oh, girl. Y'all know about that. But this was the racism that brought it together was like this big deal. It was a big deal. It was like the black versus white, the great white hope versus this versus. And so what you see happening is racism is an economy in and of itself. It's an economy. It's an economy in and of itself. And whenever it's there, people pay attention. Now, what we've been told is that racism is a leftist narrative. So when all the shootings in the last 10 years, from Mike Brown on down to Philando Castile and Alton Sterling, all these different people, to George Floyd, it's all a leftist narrative. No, it's not. It's a capitalistic narrative. Because when there's race, that's why Black Lives Matter was able to get money and infiltrate. And there are people like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know about George Soros and how they infiltrated. Money. Because America knows, people know that when you talk about race in America between black and white, we're going to pay attention. We're going to watch. We're going to pay attention. That's just the reality. So don't let them fool you and make you think that they don't want to talk about this stuff. They love talking about race because they make money. And even the people who think they're race baiting, guess what? They write books. They go on talk shows. They preach at churches. And they talk against the very narrative. It is racism Whether you call it wokeism, whatever you want to call it woke, let's call it wokeism for right now, because that's what they call it. Wokeism is a capitalistic economic success story. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Multi-billion-dollar industry. That's why companies like Starbucks and them, they didn't care. Man, you know how long gay people have been doing stuff? They don't care about these people. But then when they realize, oh, we can make money off of these people, then we'll invest in it. Let's get diversity shirts. Let's do diversity training. Let's do all of that because it's about money. It's about green. It's not about white being over black. That may have been how it was set up from a skin tone perspective, because white people came to America first. And between black people, there were obviously other ethnicities in here. But my point is this: it's always going to go down to that mighty dollar. Do things, bad thing for that mean green. Y'all got me. I wish some of y'all don't even know what I'm talking about right now. Some of y'all beat your chest. You know what that is? For the love of money, people will kill their own brother. It's always about money. It is. America needs a racist narrative. Now, what does this have to do with Caitlyn Clark? Well, the WNBA has been until recently, an economic failure in terms of a corporation, in terms of an entity, business entity. It doesn't mean that women couldn't ball. They were ballers. But the reality is, and I've said this on previous videos, so I'm not going to reiterate all of it. The reality is that when men are the biggest consumers of particular sports, right? Basketball, football, they're just men. We're the sports guys. Women don't want. Men want the makeover shows, right? They're the foodies. But like, no, men watch sports, and so men aren't watching sports that are largely, to them, unattractive women that would never have sex with them because they're attracted to each other. So men just don't care. And if you're going to watch I could watch a high school basketball game and watch a dude dunk on another dude, something that women just can't do. So there just hasn't been a high interest in that. So even though they were ballers, don't get me wrong, they could ball. There just hasn't been a lot of interest in it. It was a company that was, the NBA was subsidizing the WNBA, which is why a lot of people, when they started saying, they misunderstood what the women said. They were thinking that the women were talking about equity and wanting equal pay. Like, well, LeBron gets $100 million, we should get. That's not what they were saying. The women were saying, we don't have any market value. There's no collective bargaining agreement that says if I get a percentage of what my jersey sells. I get this, like guys do. Like if Steph Curry's jersey sells, Steph Curry gets money for that. Kelsey Plum was like, if my jersey sells, I don't get any money for it. So she was saying we want to have at least a share in our likeness and it being sold, and we get paid for it. They weren't thinking we deserve 100. Maybe some were, but they were delusional for thinking that, right? Because it's not about your talent, right? It's about are people entertained by you enough to spend money that I can make money from you? If yes, I'm gonna invest in you. I don't care what you look like, what you smell like. I don't care. Because it's the love of money. It's not the love of if put it like, do you know if legacy media, which is typical news like CNN, ABC, Fox, all that stuff, if legacy media realized, oh my gosh, we get the highest ratings when we talk about 70 plus old women who ride dirt bikes and who sell lemonade and do wheelies. That's what the stories they would do. They care about ratings. Why? Because ratings feed the people who they have shares in the company. They got to feed the stockholders. America is a company that is based on making sure the stockholders are benefiting financially. So many things in our country don't have as much to do with racism. Sure, or what we would call racism. Sure, they do. Part of it, because sin is sin. There's going to be people who don't like you because you're black, fat, gay, white, straight, Christian, Muslim. That's just going to happen because the devil is all over the place. He's got his demons in all kinds of different issues. Sure, that stuff is true, but what's largely underneath the current of America is not racism, but green. Not white versus black, but green versus everyone. It's the love of money. And the reason why that's hidden is because if we expose that, then it gives more credence to the Bible. So we mask it by making it about racism, which the Bible doesn't directly talk about in the way America has experienced it. So it gets hidden. But in these other countries like where communism and Marxism and socialism, you can see the economic realities differently than you can in capitalism because everyone's kind of each man to himself. But when the whole governmental system is controlling the dispensation of money, then you can see the corruption easier. But when it's like this, when every business can do its own thing, you can't see it. So we're deceived in thinking that America is not a money-hungry country, and it's all about these other things, and it's not. So the WNBA has been, in terms of an economic reality, up until recently, a failure. But the NBA kept it along because it believed in many ways. They lost money every year. It believed in it, right? All of a sudden, the league's doing good. It's getting better. Women are balling. People are tuning in a little bit more. But then you hear about this white girl from Iowa, a school that's never won a championship, and she's shooting the lights out. And she's going up against these juggernauts, schools like Connecticut, South Carolina, LSU. These are big schools, man. Schools that win champions. I mean, come on, UConn? UConn has more women's basketball championships than any school ever. So for Diana Taurasi and the people, well, I won 3 championships there. Breanna Stewart, of course you did, because you went to UConn. UConn gets the best recruits all over the place. Not every good player goes to UConn or they go elsewhere because they want to try something. USC is another school. There's Stanford. These schools that people. So you get this white girl who can shoot the lights out, coming from the Midwest, Iowa, that no one hears about, and she's a killer. She's a giant killer. She's a giant killer, back-to-back champion. And she breaks the record. Like, why do people act like this woman did not break the NCAA scoring record for men and women? She broke the record because she shoots threes. She's a bucket, right? They look at her and say, cash cow. We can benefit from her. Cash cow. Cash cow. But then you get Angel Reese, who won the championship a couple years ago against her, Caitlyn Clark. Black woman. She comes up, and there's people that are offended. Now, rightly so. I think there are women who were like, man, we've been here longer. We're better players. We're seasoned. We don't get the attention. It just happens. It's not about, they said it's pretty privilege and all that stuff. Man, nobody, I'm sure there are some guys that are like less than after Caitlyn Clark, and there are some women that are less than after Caitlyn Clark. I don't think a lot of people are. And what do I know? I'm just saying. I don't think a lot of people are looking at Caitlyn Clark, wow, she is vicious. No. They're like, man, she can shoot the lights out. They just want to see her shoot a 3 because Steph Curry made 3-point shots as exciting as a dunk. It used to be the dunk was the main excitement. I remember we used to never care about the 3-point shot in the NBA All-Star Weekend. It was a dunk contest. But now we want to see it because shooting threes is incredible. It's so far away and people be hitting them like a couple in a row. This girl, Caitlyn Clark, will shoot the lights out, right? 40, 50, 30, 35 feet away. Swap, wop. I mean, you know how hard that is? To drop 5, 6, 7 3-pointers in a game, and the way she shoots coming off the screens, her feet aren't even set. It's incredible to watch. She broke the scoring record. She comes in, and the companies are like, boom, and everyone wants to see her because she's exciting. No, I don't think many people are like, ooh, finally. Oh, well, there's some white girls that are tough. Kelsey Plum, Sabrina Ionescu, Stewie from Diana Taurasi. I mean, there's some players that are tough. White girls that came into the league and that people talked about them, but they didn't grab the national attention. And so companies weren't like, hey, let's flock to you because we need to make money off of you. We need to make money off of you. You know why they're letting curvy women now be in like these Victoria's Secret Hanes commercials? Because society is more about, not fat shaming, body positivity, all this type of stuff. So companies like, listen, if we can make money, let's do it. But if we're not making no money, we're not going to do it. No, little dude. Not right now. I'm recording live, bro. What you doing, bro? Go ahead, man. I'm recording live. Not right now, all right? This is my cat. And yes, he's black, all black. I'm recording live, man. What you doing, scrub? Not right now. So anyway, back to our regular scheduled broadcast. So you got, it's money. Money. Now the WNBA is more marketable. right? There's a lot of good players that have waited to get to this point. That's more marketable. Now we're going to make sure you have a budget to get charter flights. Why? Because more people want to watch this game right now because of this girl. Now, because this girl is making people, Caitlyn Clark, making people watch more games, then other people, they're watching these players play. She sells out every arena. It's money. It's money. She's bringing money in ways that other players who are way better than her in this league have never been able to do. And that's what it matters. It's not race. It's not sexism. It's not sexuality. Those things may play a role, but it's commerce. Caitlyn Clark is her own economy. She's her own economy. So why is this important? Because Angel Reese, a black woman, is actually embarrassing herself, I believe. And there are people who will disagree with me, and that's fine. You don't have to tell me because no one agrees with anything everyone says. She's embarrassing herself, and she's embarrassing the black community, right? I'll give Asia Wilson her credit. Asia Wilson felt like initially, before Caitlyn Clark even got in the league, that all this hubbub about her was due to race. It was because she was a white girl coming into a league. But I think there are tough white girls in the league. I just think that was a wrong motive. I think they just need to say, listen, we're better than her. We feel like we deserve what she's getting, and we're disappointed that she's getting it and we're not. Just be honest. And we would accept that. We would get it. It makes sense. We would get it. But there's this narrative of being black, and maybe that's a small portion, but it's just like, hey, okay, in this particular league, this particular white girl is more marketable than you as a black woman. That's just reality. It's more about I'm telling you, if Angel Reese, if everyone was like, oh my gosh, Angel Reese is must-see TV, they would have flocked to her because companies don't care about your cause. They care about their bottom line. And that's what I feel like all this racism stuff is racism. If there's no money in it, it's going to go away, at least in America. Maybe in other countries, they just are who they are because they are. In America, we're a corporation-driven society. Corporation-driven society. Corporations, multi-billion-dollar corporations, have lobbyists that go to Congress all day. They pay men and women to stand in Congress to force them to pass laws that benefit them as corporations, to get tax breaks that you and I don't get under this false notion of trickle-down economics, which hasn't worked in 50 plus years. All it does is make the people who are rich get richer. It separates the divide. The middle class gets stretched and pushed further and further down. There's no such proof to trickle-down economics. And I would love anyone to challenge me on that because I have evidence of it. I have a 50-year study I could pull up right now that shows under each presidency, whether it was Democrat or Republican, trickle-down economics, giving them the corporations tax cuts and taxing the middle class and the lower class higher. Do you know the most taxed city in America is like a small black Alabama town? They're the highest taxed. I'm talking about they get crushed in their taxes. They almost make them, and they're one of the poorest towns in the world. And these other companies say, oh, we make billions of dollars. So that's what they do. That's what they do. I can hire people to go down there and speak on our behalf, to pass laws to Congress to do it. This is why the congressmen get big money. That's why there's always campaign finance reform. Where are you getting your money from? Donations. All this money, and they gotta monitor it because you can make enough money you can buy your way into your particular political aspirations. It's commerce. It's a commerce driven. We don't talk enough about this. We act like it's racism. We're fooled. The devil's got us bamboozled. Race is like on the left. Sexuality is on the right. Now, biblically, sexuality is more. That's a different video. Why is sexuality a big deal? We'll do another video about that. All right? Another video. Separate. But that's over here. What's in the middle is money. The root of all kinds of evil, money. What Jesus talked about a lot, money. What's going to send people to hell a lot is the love of money. The love of money will make you do all these evil things because you love money. That's what America is. So Caitlyn Clark is money. She's her own economy. And Angel Reese is mad. She's mad. She's mad because she wants to be an economy. She's got a little bit of money. She bought a little her little stake in the DC women's soccer league. But Angel Reese says a lot of things in the media that are like sub dissing Caitlyn Clark and making it about this black-white narrative that she, or like I'm also the reason why people are watching basketball. When I hear her talk, she's talking on her team like she's the captain. Say, woman, you just got in the league 2 months ago yourself. I would be mad if I was on that team and she's acting like she's our star, like our captain. She's just vocal. She's from Baltimore. She ain't going for it. She's a gangster. I'll give you that. You're a gangster. I'll give you that. You're from B-more. I'll give you that. Okay, cool. But like, no, the reality is she needs to stay relevant. And so race is relevant. So she said, I'll be that bad guy. Well, you made yourself the bad guy. You liked it. You can't try to be like Draymond Green and Dennis Rodman. And then when people start treating you like that, then you get mad at them. And let me tell you why this is bothering me. Because I'm a black man. These things bother me. Let me tell you why it's bothering me. Because right now, it's black women that are hurting themselves over Caitlyn Clark. Black women, like the girl from Connecticut, the guard, Dejanay, whatever, put out a tweet. I forgot her last name. I don't want to say whatever. I just don't remember her name. She put out a tweet a couple days ago because Caitlyn Clark was in an interview and said that people were using her name for like misogyny, homophobia, all this stuff. And they asked her what she thought. She said, listen, I don't even pay attention. I just hoop. I just play basketball. I don't even keep up with it. So Dejanay Carrington, I think her last name, put out this tweet that was like, basically like you have the luxury of doing that. When people are using your name, you got to stand up and speak out and all this stuff. And it's like, man, what if Caitlyn Clark just wants to play ball? Like, what if it's just like, I'm just trying to hoop. What if she just wants to play ball? She's not on social media. She's not tripping. So then they asked her again in a different interview. And then she was a little bit more elaborate. No, I think it's terrible that people do that. She was more elaborate. Some handlers got to her and said, you need to make sure you say this or they ask you this again. But the reality is, most of the people that are complaining about Caitlyn Clark are black women. And if you're Dejanay Carrington, I think is the defensive player of the year or up for it, you shut Caitlyn Clark down, essentially. Now, there's talk that her girlfriend, Nalissa, I think, Smith, who plays on with Caitlyn Clark, is maybe giving her tips. That's what the people are saying. But the reality is, you're better than her. Listen, Caitlyn, there's no one in the WNBA that is better than, pound for pound, that is better than Asia from that Las Vegas Sparks. She is ridiculous. She's ridiculous. No one's seeing her. No one right now. I think Caitlyn Clark is going to end up being one of them girls that are like, no one's touching her. But like, she's not the best player. There are some of these girls on the Vegas team, on the New York Liberty. These women can ball. But I'm just black women, my sisters in the WNBA. Please, even if you think it is racism, like you're going to get more money because of this white girl, because of this. Don't stop playing that narrative. Because it's going to make you look bad, make black people look like we just can't get over it. Like at what point, listen, for whatever reason, I'm going to speak in the cultural, psychedelic religious terms. The universe chose Caitlyn Clark. It just is what it is. It didn't choose you, Angel Reese. It didn't choose you, DNA. It didn't choose you, Asia. Asia's tough. But for whatever reason, the universe chose Caitlyn Clark. And because of that, you're getting more people in your games. People weren't coming to your games 2 years ago like that. But when you play Caitlyn Clark, it's sold out. And you can't, and I get that. That would make me mad too. It would make me mad, especially if I think I'm better than this person. But I felt that. I think as a rap artist, like I rap, I think I'm better than a lot of people who like, oh, this is my favorite artist. But the universe chose this guy. The universe chose Lecrae. You know, talking from a Christian perspective. The universe chose Shai Linne. The universe chose Timothy. The universe chose these people that I thought I'm just as good as. I think I make better albums. I can make a case for that. I mean, that's what everyone should think their music is whatever is good. I thought, hey, I make quality music. I would put any of my albums against any of their albums. But you know what though? The universe. I'll put this album right here. My last project. Go stream this anywhere. iTunes, Spotify. You don't even got to buy it. Just stream it. And I bet you'll tell me, I rap. I I try very hard because I think, let me tell you why. I think it's important to try to honor the Lord with excellency. So I've grown as an artist. I got another album getting ready to drop with another friend. And I've grown as an artist trying to do that. And this album will show my growth because I want to do excellent. I want to do a good job. I want to work hard and do something good to honor the Lord. But there are people who the universe chose them. They didn't choose me. There are people who have a bigger YouTube channel than me that I think I have better content than. And when I say that, I don't mean like I sit around and be like, I'm better than you. I'm better. I just think I press record and I just run my mouth until I stop. And there are people who benefit from. They think, man, I love your channel. You're my favorite channel. For what? I don't have nothing flashy or nothing. I'm just out here jawboning, and people are like, I love your channel. There's 53 people watching right now, and I just went live just like that in the afternoon. But the universe chose them, and it's like, it's okay. It's okay. All right. I may never get to 5,000. That's okay. I'm still going to strive for it. That's fine. It's not the end of the world. I'm not going to sit there, no, that's not right, man. I'm more John Blaze than him. I'm more John Blaze than that. I'm ready to die. It was all right, but I'm more John Blaze than that. It's like the universe sometimes chooses people. And they chose Caitlyn Clark, and that is her time right now. I think a lot of the black women are playing into the narrative of race and all it. It's making money, but it's also making you look bad. Dejanay Karen she's a baller. I don't think Asia is saying too much stuff right now. But some of these other, Angel Reese, just ball. Listen, you averaging about 11, 10 points a game. Right now, you're just not better than Caitlyn Clark. And it could be that she's a guard and brings the ball up and you're a forward and you're a post player and you have to wait till they pass you the ball. That happens. Shaq didn't bring the ball up. He had to wait till he got the ball in the post. Then he did his thing. Like Caitlyn Clark's point guard, so she's going to have the ball in her hands more. It's going to be easy for her to get up. But she's better than you. And there's nothing you can say about it. And you're not going to convince people otherwise because you're complaining. It just makes you look bad. Talking about Caitlyn Clark gets cheap fouls. She's the 5th most foul player in the WNBA. I've seen her get knocked down and the refs didn't call anything. She's not getting favoritism calls. This is the narrative now of Angel Reese. She's always a victim. And as a black woman, I can't stand it. Black people, man, we do play the victim a lot. And sometimes we're a victim of our own circumstance. Sometimes it's just, look, man, there's a lot of people who don't get even the opportunities that you have, Angel Reese and them, in a capitalistic society. We're all trying. We got side hustles. We got this. I heard that Jason Tatum, NBA player, is about to make 300 plus million. That's probably 300 million. You could probably get couple hundred people together combined. The average middle class will never make that kind of money. Just because you play basketball, fam? You mean to tell me teachers who taught you actually how to read the contract that you're signing are making 40 to 75K? Teachers? And you're going to make $300 plus million just because you can play basketball? But in a capitalistic society, the market is king. If there's a market for paying NBA players $300 million, then you're going to go for the market. That's what a capitalistic society does. It does not value the talent. It doesn't value, it values what can make money. Teachers don't make money because no one cares. A corporation can't invest in teachers unless they do something really dramatic that everyone's paying attention to. So teachers just work and they just get state budgeted, sometimes federal budgeted, and they make just enough to get by, many of them. But they're some of the most important people in our society. When COVID hit, I remembered that they were the first time I had seen a lot of first responders, like all of a sudden getting praised. Like there were bus drivers and people working at like fast food and people working in grocery stores, and they would bring the groceries to your car. Like you could order groceries and someone would go grab all your groceries and then bring them to your car and load it up because of COVID. And it was the first time I thought, wow, Lord, this is what the only thing that, well, there's probably more, but I'm not going to get into all of that. But one of the things that I thought was really amazing about COVID was how the Lord kind of kind of revert. Remember in the scripture it says, well, the first will be last and the last will be first, right? The Lord switched it. So all the people who were like the laughed at in the culture, the people who work at McDonald's and all that, they were the people that people were the most excited about. Like, wow, you like, thank you for being open. Thank you for this. They were like, people like loved it. They were the most excited people. And so I saw that happen, thought, wow, that's a good thing. But like, that's just not the culture we live in. You know, 9/11 helped us thank police and fire department. They helped us thank them because we realized their sacrifice. But for the most part, it's the actors, the singers, the basketball players, the entertainers. Those are the people who are the most accepted in society. Why? Because they are an economy. They generate income. They generate interest enough that people will spend money to see them, to hear them, to listen to them. And companies will invest in you if you can make money for them. Their companies do not work pro bono for the most part. Most companies are profit, not nonprofit. So Caitlyn Clark is an economy, and she's helping the WNBA establish their economy. Just look, don't like her, fine. Ball out when you play against her because everyone's going to be watching. Ball out. But for the life of me, for the love of Pete. Who is Pete, by the way? Like, anybody know who Pete is? Why wasn't it like for the love of Earl? Like, if I was Earl, or like Clarence, for the love of Clarence. Why is it Pete? Like, who is Pete? Anyway, for the love of Pete, black people, black women in the WNBA, hush up on the race talk. Just ball out. Whenever you play her, ball out. Whenever you got attendance, ball out because the money's coming. And the white girl that you're offended at is partly one of the main reasons why it's coming. It's about green. It's not about white or black. The devil has fooled us all, and we fall into the mousetrap. But what do I know? I think the reality is this. Angel Reese I think she's mad because she needs Caitlyn Clark. Caitlyn Clark doesn't need Angel Reese. She needs to talk about her and create like this rivalry. She doesn't need, because Caitlyn Clark never says anything. She might say stuff privately. When Caitlyn Clark, and let me tell you, if you ever watch the game, you watch a post-game interview, when she's answering questions and say like Aaliyah Boston and like is up there and maybe Kelsey Mitchell, watch like Aaliyah Boston's face as she's listening. Like when they asked, I'm going to show you, let's watch this real quick. Watch this real quick, all right? Watch this. Watch this with me. Watch this with me. All right, here we go. Listen, this is a quick video. You'll see what I'm talking about. Let's go here. All right, watch this with me. Here we go. We're going to end with this. All right, here we go.
So during today's Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever game, Angel Reese received a flagrant 1 foul after making contact with Caitlyn Clark's head, which has basketball fans having mixed feelings about the play.
Flagrant 1, we have follow through, impact, unnecessary contact to the head.
And with that being said, after the game, Angel Reese said that she was 100% going for the ball and there was nothing intentional about her hitting Caitlyn's head.
Yeah, can you kind of, on the flagrant, did you feel like that?
Basketball play.
Yeah, did you feel like that was the appropriate call or?
It's a basketball play. I can't control the refs. They affected the game obviously a lot tonight. So the
refs lost the game is what she's saying.
I mean, I'm always going for the ball. Like, y'all gonna play that clip 20 times before Monday? So
it's cool. We don't work in TV, so I'm not gonna play it anymore. But
I mean, this clip gonna get out somewhere. I know.
But on my side, you're correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Last.
So this is what I mean. Like, see the arrogance of Angel Reese. You've been in the league 2 months. You've been in the league not a day longer than Caitlyn Clark, and you're in there like, what? So you're like going at the media already? Like, you're not a seasoned vet that you should be talking to the media. The media can shape the way the culture sees you. This is what I mean. It's just like, it's just not even thinking. Like, she's so offended at Caitlyn Clark that she's just not processing the reality. She can be an amazing player and add it, but if her narrative just coming into the WNBA is going to be how much you complained about what Caitlyn Clark was getting, that's what people are going to remember, and they're just going to get tired of it.
Caitlyn Clark herself agrees with Angel Reese, saying there was nothing dirty about the play, and she was just trying to make a play on the ball.
And then when you get flagrant foul by Angel Reese, what's going through your mind, and how do you just stay within yourself to finish the game? what's going through my mind is I need to make these 2 free throws. That's all I'm thinking about. It's just a part of basketball. It is what it is. Just trying to make a play on the ball and get the block. But yeah, I mean, it happens.
So,
all right. All right. The reality is this. In that clip, I had the wrong clip. But if you would have saw the other one that was wider, watch Aaliyah Boston's face when they asked Caitlyn Clark these kinds of questions. So it could be that Caitlyn Clark is saying the right things to us, but then behind the scenes is saying stuff, and these girls are watching her basically lie to everyone like she's not tripping. It could be the opposite. But even still, whatever it is, in America, it's about commerce, right? It's about commerce. It's about an economy, right? Caitlyn Clark is an economy. Angel Reese is trying to thinks she deserves the same opportunities to be an economy. And she's doing some great things, and I'm sure she's going to be a phenomenal player. But for the life of me, my black sisters, please stop complaining about race. Because even if you're right, nobody cares. The companies are going to do what makes them money. And right now, money for them is Caitlyn Clark. All right, let's go to the tape. A lot of comments over here. If it's like 10 from the same person, I'm not going to keep reading them. All right. Yeah, this person, Free Will Baptist, let me see. Yes, black Africans are the one who captured slavery and sold them to the whites. Whites were not the one to start. So, yeah, no one said that. Yeah, it doesn't matter who started slavery, brother. I don't know why. Free Will Baptist, why do you always come in here I'm talking about something, and you always come in here and do this. Now, I did talk about some of that stuff, but it's like, the Africans were capturing rival African tribes, selling them for money. Gangster drill rap is one of the main problems in your black community. All they do is rap about murdering each other. Yeah. And just like in the 1800s and 1900s, where the white people were the Wild Wild West and Billy the Kid and the whole Westerns, the whole John Wayne and all that whole economy of Westerns was all white people killing each other. It was all white on white violence. The honoring and worship of Mafia and Al Capone and all those people who up into probably the 80s, they were making movies about. These people were celebrities. That was white on white. Like it's not just black. You're just saying that now drill rap is a relatively new rap. White people have benefited from white on white crime all the time. So, man, you just say stuff, man, because you want to provoke. But brother, or sister, I don't know if you know what you're talking about. So I'm not going to highlight any more of these comments. I've already told you there were Africans, Augustine and them, who gave white Europeans their theology. Shh. Please, you got to brush up, fam. You're just waiting for me to do a video and you comment and you don't know what you're talking about. If you want to invite me on your show, then let's talk about it and let's really get it in. But have your facts ready, because I'm shooting from the hip and I'm actually bullseyeing you. All right. Left versus right isn't necessarily the case. Yeah, Caitlyn Clark may speak differently. She may be white and from the state, but the University of Iowa is predominantly liberal. Yeah, my point isn't about left versus right, though. So I don't know if you're responding to me or not. My point is about money. It's about green. It doesn't, left versus right listen, all that stuff doesn't matter, right? All that stuff doesn't matter. It's about green. In America, we are a capitalistic nation. We are about Western free market capitalism, right? It's it's not about left versus right. There may be left who wants to change the way we do the economic system, and the right wants to preserve it. That's true. But the main issue is commerce. All of these things are about commerce. It's about money, right? It's called interest convergence. We're only in things we can benefit from. If that involves you, 100% Janelle. Janelle for the win. Janelle for 3. Caitlyn Clark, 33 feet. Janelle for the win. Interest convergence. It's utilitarianism, right? We can go there too. Utilitarianism, right? Like, it's just, the reality is, if you can benefit, it's still a reality. That's what matters. If you can benefit. Until recently, it's still an economic failure. They're still in the hole. Yeah, I agree with that. What I mean by until recently, and your thumbnail is interesting, man. You might want to change that. Jerulitis. You sound like you were with Leonidas and them in the 300. Or were you from Sparta? This is Sparta. Yeah, it is still an economic failure, but it's growing though. It's growing. So they're doing numbers that they've never done before. So yeah. The devil. Are you using that as a metaphor for capitalism? I don't understand what you're talking about right there. The devil is the devil. I think the devil is behind the scenes of the love for money and all that he works behind capitalism, sure. But I'm not sure what you're referring to right there. So Caitlyn Clark is entertaining 100%. To be fair, yeah, I think Angel Reese is entertaining 100%. I think she's a good player. She's just not as entertaining as Caitlyn Clark. They played the Washington Mystics. I'm all of DC. They played the Washington Mystics. They played the Washington Mystics a couple days ago in a gym that held 4,000 people, right? Caitlyn Clark played at the Verizon, whatever, the Capitalism, and there were 20,000 people in attendance. Broke a record. There's a difference. She's an economy. Reese is no angel or magic, 100%. But she acts like she is, though, right? Now, she might be good, but she talks like Angel Reese talks like it's Bird and Magic, and why is Magic getting all the press but not Bird, and she being Bird? I mean, why is Bird getting all the press, Caitlyn Clark, and not Magic? Her. She didn't say that, but that's kind of the vibe that she comes off. And I just think, no. I was with your take up until the Angel Reese is embarrassing the black community. No, that's my perspective. I'm not saying objectively embarrassing the black community. I think she is because black people are the ones who largely get emasculated when we talk about racism, as if it's completely and totally gone, which it isn't, but the way we use it sometimes is just not helpful. No one wants a thug basketball player as a role model. I don't know about that. I would disagree. I think even back in Allen Iverson's day, he was he was the actual athlete that brought in cornrows, a lot of tattoos and baggy clothes. He brought in the thug life mantra, and Allen Iverson was a beloved basketball player for a while. So I would disagree. If you're saying that no one wants a thug woman basketball player, I would also disagree there too, because men, we like the tough stuff. Men don't want to see girls like, oh no, please don't touch me. Men like that. This is why there's women UFC fighters that, I remember Ronda Rousey, everyone was talking about her because she was a woman. We like that type of stuff. Men like rough. So I don't know if I would agree with that. I see what you're saying. Maybe you don't want a thug basketball player. I mean, the fact that you're calling her a thug, are you racist? Now, that's what people say in this day and age. So that's funny. I'm kidding when I say that. I actually don't care if you're a racist. All right. I want to look at some other comments because some of these comments are the same people. All right, they're going to be mad that you said the universe show. I know, right? They are, aren't they? They're going to call me New Age. Next thing you know, I'm going to be New Age. Oh, man, I love it, bro. This is funny. All right. Let me see. The villains are also crucial to challenge the hypocrisy of American culture. Think Muhammad Ali. I agree with that. I think Muhammad Ali. I think it's all good. I'm a believer, so I don't know what you believe in. I don't care about all this other stuff. I'm about Jesus Christ, and none of these people care about Christ and Him crucified. So it's all good for whatever. It's sure. It's good entertainment at the end of the day, but it's not good for, it's not eternal, it's entertaining. So, and again, you can have both. Everything doesn't have to be eternal about eternity, but a lot of it is just a smoke screen, so I don't really care. Hey, Enrique, hey, listen, she's a baller. I mean, her handle is ridiculous. You think she's better than Asia? That's more personality. I mean, that's more preference, I guess. She's a baller, though. Hey, listen, and you would probably know this since you got most of the comments in this joint. She dropped off the Olympic team because she felt like Caitlyn Clark is getting a snub by them. I thought that was interesting. She dropped out. She's one of the first people to be like to call Cap. That's Cap, right? Yeah, she's the first player. I mean, her and Breanna Stewart are the fastest players. I think Caitlyn Clark right now is the fastest player to get to like 200 points, 150 assists, 75 rebounds, something like that. She's the fastest to get to wherever she got to. So she's balling right now. My wife was wondering why I was watching the highlights of the Fever game last night, so I told her all about Caitlyn Clark. Never thought I would be talking about bro. You listen, fam. I'd be like Siri. When's the Indiana Fever's next game? I just be watching them. I'll make decisions and be like, I'm trying to watch this game. I just want to see her shoot from below. I like it because I like all the hubbub about her, and she's obviously just chilling, man. That's just hilarious. Jason Tatum said he doesn't even use salary money for a living. He only uses endorsement money for a living. Like, yeah. Well, he's about to get a ton of salary money. I don't know what he's going to do with that. Give some of that up, bruh. Give it to some of the teachers that helped you read that contract. That would be amazing, Ghost of Jurulatus, bro, you got a lot to talk about, fam. You talk a lot in this joint. I mean, I talk a lot because it's my video, but man, you talking a lot, bro. This is a lot, fam. Every time, I feel like every other third comment is you, fam. First responders were praised rhetorically and exploited materially. For a man who talks a lot about capitalism, you sure don't analyze it very well. No, I was talking about the public perception. I wasn't talking about the exploitation of it. It was the first time that the public perception of those workers was changing. People were actually grateful to them. That's what I was talking about. So before you criticize someone whose video you're actually watching and commenting a lot on, make sure you ask, what did you mean when you said this, before you tell me I'm not analyzing it very well. For someone who's shooting from the hip that just pressed record, I'm doing a pretty good job, famo, because you're on here with the most comments. Keep it gangster, right? The lineman. Why are you talking about Reese, this damn basketball? Caitlyn's sitting there like she's big boss. Hold on. Why are you talking about Reese, this damn basketball? Caitlyn sitting there like she's big boss. So here's what I don't understand about that comment, Cynthia. Could you, if you can, Cynthia, and this is, show me where you see in any press conference anywhere Caitlyn Clark thinking she's big boss. Every single interview, she gives credit to the women that have played in this league before her, that she looked up to these women, admiring them, that it's good for the game. Like, where do you see that at? I think you're one of the, I think you might be part of the problem. If I'm understanding what you're saying correctly here, Cynthia, you might be part of the problem, but you're jumping on this narrative that I think Caitlyn Clark plays aggressive, but so does every player does. These people, they're competitors. They're gonna play aggressive. I don't see Caitlyn Clark saying any of that stuff. Let me see. You make some good, but you understand capitalism? No, it doesn't. I'm not doing a conversation on capitalism, fam. I'm using it as the premise behind it. This isn't an episode on capitalism. I was just using it to make a point. We could talk about capitalism in a much significant way, but that was not my point. It's not my point. That comment about your black community was crazy. I can't remember what I said, but I just be going at it. I don't even know. Let me see. I'm trying to see, because it's the same people with some of the same comments. It's like, all right, black women do be getting in their own way. To be fair, though, I can see why some of them are set in a situation. Everything they do against Clark gets magnified. When Dejanay mocked Clark. You know what? I would agree with that on some level. But I think the reason why it gets magnified is because there was all this complaint about her before she got to the league. Like and I think you know why it gets magnified. If you could show Caitlyn Clark saying this, well, I'm the reason why we're getting chartered jets. I'm the one that people are coming to see. So I don't know what these girls are talking about. That would be totally different than me. I would have totally different things to say about Caitlyn Clark. Even though I think it would be gangster, I would have totally different things to say. Caitlyn Clark's not saying that. So the reason why these things get magnified is because you're essentially attacking this woman who's not attacking you back. She's defending the movement of the WNBA. She's defending women's sports and being a champion of it, at least in what she communicates. Now, maybe when she's on the court and we can't hear what she says, when she hits a three, she may be like, yeah, you better be glad that you playing in front of these people because without me, you wouldn't. Maybe she's saying that to them and that's what they're reacting to. But in terms of what we hear her say, she never talks like that. So I think it gets magnified because it's not an equal thing. See, when you're both going at each other, like when Tank fought Frank, whatever it is the other night, there was both talk. So it was like, okay, now we're gonna see what's up. But when one person's talking, Caitlyn Clark's not doing it. I just don't think it's that. I think it's not that way. So says for flopping people saying it was an assault, she was a thug, which is mind blocking to me because NBA players do all the time. 100%. I think there's a stigma against women that they're supposed to still be like sort of gentle, prim and proper, and they're competitors, man. They're competitors. You know, they want to do their thing. Love your commentary, Kurt. Thank you for enlightening people with the pure and simple truth. Miss Pinky Lee Davis, I like that. Thank you, Miss Pinky Lee. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm up here just jawboning, talking, and I got dudes trying to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about on capitalism. We'll do it. I'd love to come. You bring me on your show. Let's talk about capitalism. You'd be shocked what I know. I'm just giving a premise for things. This isn't about that. I was trying to make a greater point. And I'm shooting from the hip. It's not like I got all these notes I'm reading from. I'm just going off of what I think. All right. I was raised in the church, so I respect you, but I've fallen away, looking for a direct connection to the divine now. Man, start with prayer, famo. Start with prayer, bro. And start with trying to find a church community. I would say men like to see violence or competition in any 100%. But I would not say aggressive female behavior is not a romantic interest attraction. I would not say, okay. So this is what I think. And we're grown on this show. I don't think any kids watch my show. And I'm not going to say anything graphic. But we're grown. I think men can be attracted to aggression in women because we imagine that translates into better sex. Just like I said this before, just like good girls like bad boys, it's a psychological sex anticipation of why that happens. Like why do these, what do they call them, Chads and Tyrones, and these women keep doing that to them? Because they imagine, there was a video that I saw that people would say like, oh, these arrogant, confident guys, they're going to be better sex, they're going to be better lovers. And I think men assume that aggressive women are going to be better lovers, so there can be an attraction toward that. Not every man is attracted to that, but some men are, and I think that's just a reality. We very much process things through the sexual lens and the way we see the world. I've heard many say that it was pulling up from the parking lot like that. I mean, Coxford Grayman, that's exactly right. That's the reason why I watch her. I mean, Steph Curry single-handedly made the three-point shot as exciting as a dunk. Let's keep it 100. When you see a dunk, you're still, I mean, how many times have you seen a dunk and people get dunked on? But when you see it, aren't you still like, dang? And you want to see the replay for whatever reason, right? There's something about just grabbing the ball and just dunking it, whether it's on someone or it's just something powerful about that move. When Steph Curry comes and all of a sudden he's hitting threes as often as people make layups and dunks, and all of a sudden now the three-point shot is incredible because it's so far away. And so that's what we're after. So God bless you. Thank you. Yep. Thank you. Everyone wants to preach from the pew. 100%, Chris. My whole thing is, man, get a YouTube channel and make your own videos, fam. That's all I do. You know, you coming on here talking about me, what I know. We'll make your channel and tell us what you know. You know? Pun intended. All right. My apologies, my tone was always. I appreciate that, bro. It's hard to tell. It's just it's only text and it's in a video and it's a quick comment. I appreciate you saying it though, bro. I meant no offense either. I just think, listen, people are going to in these videos. There's a lot of things I know, and I try to bring in a wealth of knowledge to make a point. But I'm not ever fully explaining what this is or that. I was just trying to make a point of what capitalism, how we're affected. It was more about the love of money, which capitalism I think provides the lens for that. So, on a fun note. Did you see Clark hit that three from the 100%? Yep. I didn't see the game because it was Father's Day and they started at 12. And so after church, I was doing some stuff. But I saw the highlights. That's what I watch for, bro. It's just funny to me. And I this is what I love. She dribbles down fast, right? I think this is what you're talking about. When she dribbles, she throws it behind her back, steps back, and pops the three. Like, that's stuff that Steph Curry just made exciting. And so it's fun to watch. And I think, so she's her own economy. I don't think the issue for most people or for corporations is her color or her beauty. I don't think that's what people are thinking about. I think she is pulling from half court from the logo and smacking them things. And sometimes she's leaning to the side. So you think, oh, there's no way that's going on. Her feet aren't even set. Whack! You can hit it net, swoop. So it's just fun to watch. I think she's fun to watch in that. But I think a lot of the hating Caitlyn is just, it's the wrong move. And I think the narrative of race in America is a cash cow. It's not going to go away. Not for a long time because it sells. This narrative of black women versus, and really Angel Reese trying to make it Angel Reese versus Caitlyn Clark. And she's beat, 5 of the Fever's wins have been, 2 of them have been against Chicago. So Angel Reese is not even making a good point from beating the girl. I can see if you beat her at least one of the games, you've lost twice. So, yeah, man. Yeah. Future, where you been, Future? Future, you in the past. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that spicy, sort of. But you'll check it out. You've always been. Future's one of the OGs. I feel you. Thank you. Peace, love. Absolutely, brother. Last one. Do you believe the style of play that takes place will be vital in keeping of new fans? I don't think that's a good question. That's actually a really good question. So it depends on it depends. You know what it depends on? I think you asked the question. Obviously, I think it depends on. Well, first of all, when you say style of play that takes place, if you're meaning shooting threes from the logo and stuff, yes, that's going to keep fans involved. If you mean the aggressive nature of it, like hard fouls and stuff, I don't think people are watching for that. Because you got to think, like the WNBA is the new kids league, right? Like there was a time where, kids still want to see the NBA, but like the WNBA is becoming more accessible to like families. And because of that, there's a lot of kids, like I watch these clips of, thousands of kids crying, wanting to get their Caitlyn Clark jersey signed. So when you think about as a parent, like if you're a parent and you got a daughter who's 7 and she loves Caitlyn Clark and you're going to the game, you're taking your daughter to the game, or your daughters or whatever, your kids, to go watch a WNBA game, and do you think they want to see their kids seeing like these really hard fouls? I would say no. But if you're talking about like the shooting from half, because some of these women can ball, bro. Like they got handles. They just be, even Kelsey Mitchell on Indiana Fever, she'd be balling. She's kind of quick. She'd be missing a lot of layups, but man, when she makes them. She can blow past people. I think people like that. I think that's because we're not used to seeing that. We're not you. What Angel Reese is doing, it's not. She's a good player, but Angel Reese is not like, we've seen that before. There are people in the league who do that more than you. We've seen it before, right? I think when you see Caitlyn Clark, we haven't seen that before. Yes, Sabrina Ionescu can hit threes, no question, but she's not pulling them as deep. At least I don't think she is, because if she were, then we'd be talking about her. I mean, we know about her, and she can shoot them, don't question. She can make more in a game than Caitlyn Clark does, but she's not getting the defensive pressure that Caitlyn Clark is either. They're making sure they don't want her to drop 40. Like, they do not want to be the team that she scores 40 on. That is for certain. No one wants to be that. So I'm a fan. I'm grateful, and looking forward to it. Rich, where you been, boy? You missed one. Now you go back and check it out on YouTube. Look, like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate y'all. Let's get me to 5K by the end of the year. Oh, also, if you're still watching, I will be in California from July 4th to August 13th. So I'm going to be staying in the Bay Area. I'm going to be preaching at my buddy's church for 6 weeks. Me and my sons are going out, but we're going to go all over. So we're going to be in San Diego for a few days. We're going to be in LA that same week. I'm just hitting a whole bunch of parts of California. So as I get close to going, if you're in the Cali area and you want to chop and get up or something, I'm gonna still be streaming, but it's gonna be from Cali. I'm looking forward to that. So I leave July 4th, and then Lord willing, and I'm coming home August 13th. So I'll be out there over a month, preaching every Sunday at my buddy's church in San Francisco. But during the week, me and my sons are gone. We going wherever. So let me know what's up. Hit me if you're in the area on hand. We'll see if we can connect or whatever. I will see you then. Looking forward to that. All right, the rest of y'all, see you when I see you. I'm out.